Greetings to you all. I am Dr. B. Siva Priya, Associate Professor of English. In this video, we are going to see Sri Aurobindo Ghose, the tiger and the deer. Now, let me deal with the biographical details of Sri Aurobindo Ghose. Aurobindo Ghose period covers from August 15, 1872 to December 5, 1950. He is an Indian yogi, Maharishi and Indian nationalist. He has edited the newspaper Bande Mataram. He studied for the Indian Civil Service at King's College in Cambridge, England. After returning to India, he took up various civil service works under the Maharaja of the princely state of Baroda. Now, let us see about the works of Sri Aurobindo. Aurobindo's literary output comprises philosophical speculation, many treatises on yoga and integral yoga, poetry, plays and other writings. In addition to the divine life, his major works include essays on the Gita, collected poems and plays, the synthesis of yoga, the human cycle, the ideal of human unity, Savitri, a legend and a symbol, and on the Veda. As a poet, Sri Aurobindo has published this poem, The Tiger and the Deer, first in 1930 and later in 1942. This poem explores the duality of nature through the contrasting images of a powerful tiger and a gentle deer. The poem symbolizes the conflict between life and death, good and evil, and innocence and experience. While the tiger embodies violence and destruction, the deer represents innocence and vulnerability. This poem suggests a hopeful vision where the destructive forces of the tiger will eventually fade and peace and kindness will prevail. Now, let us get into the poem. Sri Aurobindo's The Tiger and the Deer. Brilliant, crouching, slouching, what crept through the green heart of the forest? Gleaming eyes and mighty chest and soft, soundless paws of grandeur and murder. The wind slipped through the leaves as if afraid lest its voice and the noise of its steps perturbed the pitiless splendor, hardly daring to breathe. But the great beast crouched and crept and crept and crouched a last time, noiseless, fatal, till suddenly death leaped on the beautiful wild deer as it drank. The meaning of this stanza is, the poem begins with the powerful and beautiful predator like a tiger silently hunting a deer in the forest. The animal is so skilled and focused that it seems to be one with the darkness, and even the wind is quiet so as not to disturb it. The predator, that is the tiger, suddenly kills the deer while it is drinking, showing how quickly and surely death can come in nature. The next stanza. Unsuspecting at the great pool in the forest coolness and shadow. Unsuspecting at the great pool in the forest coolness and shadow, and it fell and torn, died remembering its mate, left soul in the deep woodland. Since the tiger has killed the deer, at the time of its death, the deer thinks of its soulmate which was standing lonely in the forest. Destroyed the mild, harmless beauty with the strong, cruel beauty in nature. But a day may come when the tiger crouches and leaps no more in the dangerous heart of the forest. The deer was destroyed by the tiger, but the poet says one day or the other, a day will come when the animals like deer may stay strong and happily in the heart of the forest. To elaborate the meaning of the stanza describes a beautiful gentle deer being killed by a powerful cruel predator like a tiger. The deer dies while thinking of its mate, highlighting the tragic and sad reality of this kind of death. The poet notes that this is just a part of nature where both mild harmless beauty and strong cruel beauty exist. However, the last line of the poem of this stanza, that is, but a day may yet come when the tiger crouches and leaps no more in the dangerous heart of the forest. This particular line suggests that a future hope that one day or the other this brutal cycle might end and the tiger will no longer have to hunt and kill in the forest. As the mammoth shakes no more the plains of Asia, still then shall the beautiful wild deer drink from the coolness of great pools in the leaves' shadow. The mighty perish in their might, the slain survive the slayer. Meaning, one day, even the strongest creatures will disappear just like the mammoth, the tiger did. One day, even the strongest creatures will disappear just like the mammoth did. The gentle deer will then be able to live peacefully without fear. The powerful and destructive will eventually die out. The victims or the slain will outlast their killers. The poet ends the poem with a hopeful note that one day or the other, the tiger, the might, the huge animal, the powerful animal will disappear from the earth. That is, when we analyze the theme, the tiger and the deer is the duality of existence, specifically the contrast between strength and vulnerability and the struggle for survival in nature. The tiger, representing power and ferocity, is pitted against the deer, symbolizing gentleness and innocence. This conflict extends to broader themes of life and death, good and evil, and the balance of nature. When we look at the stylistic devices employed in the poem, the poet has employed vivid imagery and symbolism to explore the contrasting nature of power and vulnerability, life and death, and the cyclical nature of existence. The tiger, with its fierce and predatory nature, embodies strength, cruelty, and the raw power of nature, while the deer, with its gentleness and fragility, represents innocence, vulnerability, and the cycle of life. The poem utilizes these contrasting images to highlight the balance and interconnectedness of these opposing forces in the natural world. First, let me look into the imagery. The poem is rich in imagery that appeals to the senses, creating vivid pictures of the tiger and the deer. For example, the tiger is depicted with soundless powers of grandeur and murder, conveying both its power and its destructive potential. The deer, on the other hand, is associated with gentleness and innocence through descriptions of its soft fur and timid movements. Symbolism. The tiger and the deer are not merely animals in the poem, they are symbols. The tiger symbolizes death, cruelty, and forces of destruction, while the deer symbolizes life and innocence and vulnerability. This symbolic representation allows the poem to explore deeper themes about the nature of existence. Juxtaposition is a literary device where two or more elements like ideas, images, words, characters, etc. are placed near each other to create a contrast or comparison. The contrasting imagery and the symbolism of the tiger and the deer are presented side by side, highlighting the tension and the interplay between these opposing forces. This juxtaposition emphasizes the idea that both power and vulnerability, life and death are necessary components of the natural world. Moving to the personification. Personification is a figure of speech where human qualities, emotions or actions are attributed to inanimate objects, animals and abstract ideas. The wind is described as afraid lest its voice and the noise of its steps perturb the pitiless splendor, giving it a human-like characteristics of fear and caution. This technique helps the readers to create a more immediate and relatable experience of drawing them into the natural world of the poem. Direct influence of William Blake upon Sri Aurobindo. Blake's Songs of Innocence and Experience was published in 1794. William Blake is a British poet. He has published a book, Songs of Innocence Experience, in 1794. In this collection of poems, Blake provides the picture of innocence and experience through the symbols of lamb and tiger respectively, among others. In fact, there are poems with the title The Lamb and the Tiger by the Blake. To conclude, the creatures, the deer and the tiger, are beautiful and they are created by the Lord Almighty, but the deer is harmless and innocent and the other is cruel and mighty. Sri Aurobindo, in the poem The Tiger and the Deer, gives a unique touch by merging both the symbols in one poem and at the same time ending the poem in an optimistic note that cruel and dark forces will die. Thank you.